My name's Lindsay Southwick. I am a mother of 3 kids, and I have one on the way. I'm married to Mike. We've been married for 6 years now. I'm originally from Tacoma, and we moved to Vancouver 6 years ago when we got married. So I grew up Catholic. Both my parents were Catholic. We went to church every Sunday. I went to my religious ed classes. And then in high school, I went to a Catholic high school, and then I went to Gonzaga University, which was also Catholic. So it was I knew my faith. I knew what was expected of me. I wouldn't say I was ever really challenged in any way. I didn't probably ask very many questions just because I felt like going every week and being raised by 2 Catholic parents, I kind of felt like I had a good understanding of the faith. So I would have to say Gloria Strauss. She was a little girl who was diagnosed with cancer when she was 7 years old. And she came from a very strong Catholic family. Her mom was born and raised Catholic, and that's what they believed in. And when they found out when she was diagnosed, it was neuroblastoma, which is it's a childhood cancer, and you pretty much die from it. They haven't had many survivors. So her prognosis was very bleak. So I actually babysat her. I was pretty involved. I would watch her. She had how many siblings? 6 other siblings, and she was the second oldest. So I would watch the younger ones if she had to go to the hospital or things like that. So yeah, we were involved in her family's life. So, and throughout the whole time, they prayed. They had rosaries at their house, and she lived until she was 11. She passed away when she was 11. So she surpassed what all the doctors believed. There was even a period of time where she went into remission, and they all believe it was because of her faith and praying. And I mean, we all believed that she was going to be healed and that she was going to overcome all the odds. But she was very you walk into the room and she was sick and she was tired, but yet she always prayed the rosary, and she always, even when she was in the hospital dying, she had a rosary in her hand and just talking about God and how much she loved him and how she wanted to go be with him. And she was talking about, she was in and out of being in heaven and coming back here, and she was talking about those experiences. And one thing that her dad always said, because of course their medical bills were through the roof, he always said, if money's our problem, we got no problems. And God always provided. It was always just trust in the Lord and he will take care of us, and whatever's supposed to come of this, that's what it is. And then they started a foundation after she passed away, because when she was sick, people would come clean their house and make dinners and watch the siblings. So then they started it's called Gloria's Angels, and they now are helping other families who are sick. So it's kind of neat to see it come full circle, that they received all that help when their daughter was sick, and now they're paying it back. And when Mike and I still lived up north, we kind of helped with some of those, cleaning people's houses and stuff. So she's just one of those people that I believe she's going to be a saint someday. She just lived so purely, and to be so young and just have such a strong faith, it was very admirable to be around her. When my husband and I decided to get married, it was definitely a calling by God. We had gone to high school together, and then both went our separate ways after high school, and then we were brought back into each other's lives. So it was kind of one of those if it's meant to be, it'll happen. Of course, I had a crush on him in high school, but it didn't work out. And it wouldn't have, we weren't in the right place in our lives at that time. So, and then just being married to him for 6 years, it's very apparent and very obvious that we're meant to be together, and we complement each other very well. And so I believe that God's hand played a role in that and brought us back together.
Were there any moments on the day of your wedding? Do you remember any moments from the mass or anything that sticks out to you?
It was all kind of a blur. But I remember, so because my husband's Mexican, so it's called the lasso tradition. And so his grandma, and it's the 2 rosaries, and she puts them over us and stuff. And I remember doing that, and that was something I'd never even heard of before they told me that we were going to do it. But it was very neat, and it was very touching to have, his grandma, who is like 80 years old, blessing us and kind of blessing our marriage that way. So when you're going through tough times and you want to just walk away from it, you kind of remember, what you said in your vows, and when you're on the altar getting married, like this isn't just let's see how this works. It's we were blessed by God, and we love each other, and we need to make it work. So
have there been times in your marriage when you felt like you could feel God's grace?
Yeah, I think God watches over us, and He's definitely blessed us with 3 beautiful kids and beautiful home and just a wonderful job for my husband. So like I said, Gloria's dad, when he said, if money's our problems, we have no problems. I feel the same way in our life. I stay home, and so to people on the outside, I think it's hard for them to like they're always like, how do you guys make it? How do you? But it's like we just we trust in God, and we are smart with our finances, and it's worked out well for us. So my vocation is marriage, and just discerning it, I guess. I always knew I wanted to be a mom. That was something, since I was probably 2 years old, I had a baby doll in my hand, and something that's just always been strong in my heart. And I think the feeling is so strong for me that I couldn't say that it was coming from anywhere else but from God. I had no other maybe I want to do this, or maybe I should try that. It was pretty clear to me that that was my path, and so getting married and being a mom was what I wanted to do. So like I said, we went to high school together and then saw each other again, and I think it was seeing how much he matured in those 4 years, and seeing how family oriented he was. He's one of 7 kids, and he's got probably like 13 nieces and nephews now, but at the time, it was like he was very involved in all of his nieces' lives, and went to birthday parties, and was always going to family functions. And so being that I wanted to be a mom one day, I knew family is very important to me, and I could see the way that he treated his nieces, that he would be a great dad and a great provider for us. So that was kind of when it clicked in my head, like, I can be with this guy forever. When Mike and I re-met, he was not going to church at that time, and so I just told him, like, this is something that's very important to me, and my faith, and I want to raise our kids in the Catholic faith. And so before we even got married, he went and talked to a priest. He had some questions and things he was unsure about, and kind of got those all cleared up. And then and then he goes to church with us every week, and so and then being in our couples group, it's definitely, we try to work together and grow in our faith together. well, it's fun to see the faith through a child's eye. My daughter just started at kindergarten and she's going to a Catholic school, and so she's learning all different kinds of things about her faith and the things that she comes home. I mean, they learn the rosary, and so she's coming home and wanting to pray the rosary all the time, which then forces me to, because being a mom, it's really easy to lose time and have excuses and not make that a priority. But having her ask me, it's like, I don't want to quench that. She's very excited about her faith right now, so I want to foster that. So it's definitely, she's definitely helped make me a better Catholic, and and then learning the other things, different. She learns about saints and all different kinds of things that she comes home and tells us, and so it's been very fun to see all the kids in their different ages, just how they say the prayers and how they act in Mass, and watching them go from the kid playing under the pew to the kid standing and praying and actually asking questions and being involved. So it's very fun. So 4 or 5 years ago, the state was low on funding, and they were talking about layoffs, and my husband was very worried that he was going to get laid off because he hadn't been there very long. There hadn't been many people hired on after him, so it was pretty much, he was kind of, because it's a union, so it's based on, how long you've been there. And with me not working, it was a very stressful time. We talked a lot about, well, what will happen if you get laid off? How are we going to financially support our family? But I just remember praying and prayed every day that he would keep his job, or if he were to be laid off, that then another job would fall into place. And he made it through the first round of layoffs, didn't get laid off, and then the second round came up and made it through that also. And I think it was his boss told him that he was the next person on the list. So if they would have had to lay off one more person, it would have been him. But they didn't, and he's still there, and everything's going well. So he shouldn't have to get laid off. It's a good job that he has, and it's a good environment. He knows the people, they know him. He's a hard worker, so I think that was where God wants him at. So I really like the Advent calendar, or not the calendar, but the wreath during Christmas time. It's just, I really like how it's a very visual representation of the amount of time we have until, Jesus is born, and to prepare our hearts and to prepare ourselves for the Christmas season. And yeah, just seeing them light the candles just reminds me, okay, got only a couple more weeks, like, get your heart ready. I remember always being very excited, and if we were like late to Mass and we missed the lighting of the candle, I always just felt a little bit like sad about it, like, oh, I wanted to see them light the next one and stuff. So, and we had one at our house, and so we would light it too, and yeah. Like I said, I was raised Catholic. It's kind of all I've known. But there's never been a time when I felt like I needed to leave the church or try something different. And I think it's just because I like having something that I can put my faith in, and I can kind of trust and know. And it's also neat to know that if I go on vacation and go to church, that it's the same whether, wherever I'm at, it's going to be the same readings, and kind of that consistency of everybody's on the same page and learning the same things.